I call to order the Etna Township Board of Trustees regular meeting Wednesday, May 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Burkholder?
Here.
Ms. McKee?
Here.
Ms. McKee, would you please lead us in an invocation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Stand with me if you will bow your head. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, for thy is the kingdom, thy is the power, and thy is the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
Is there a second? I'll second. I'll make a motion to amend the agenda and also consider other amendments as well, but I'm going to make a motion to amend the agenda and to limit debate to 2 minutes per speech and 2 speeches per trustee on any resolution, motion, and trustee comments for the remainder of the year. Is there a second?
Can you define that more, Mr. Burkholder?
Well, according to Robert's Rules of Order, we can go ahead and limit debate. 10 minutes debate on this, and each issue has not been productive for this board. So previously, we had 1 speech per trustee for that single meeting.
Yes.
But I think there needs to be more than 1 speech in case you would have comments and Mr. Evans would have comments, that you could have comments a second time. So I think 2 minutes, we realize a lot can be said in 2 minutes. We also have the option, though, that if it is a subject that requires more discussion, we as a board have the option of extending debate for that particular question. So we do have that flexibility, but one of the things I think that we as a township is to try to get these meetings on point, stay on point, more productive, and have good discussion, but not negative discussion directed at other individuals.
I would like to point of order that you right there violated Robert's rules by having discussion before any second. So you're not following Robert's rules only when you want to silence another.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Evans. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And I apologize that we did not, I was asked a question, so I felt I ought to answer that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for
There's a second. Roll call on
Discussion.
Mr. Evans.
Yes, again, this is another attempt to limit and silence speech. This board has routinely adjourned in the middle of my sentence as soon as I start to stop any divulsion of the issues that are critical to our residents. This board has not wanted a discussion previously, and they don't want it now. Again, that is why I have to stand up there and speak under public comments, because the force to silence me is that great. It's a shame, and this board should be better than that, and I believe it will get better next year.
Well, I respectfully disagree, Mr. Evans. We want civil and professional debate.
Yes.
And I ran on that. I've attempted during my tenure here to have that according to Robert's Rules of Order. You are not supposed to be attacking other members, either of the community, this board, or staff. You have repeatedly called us liars, corrupt, incompetent, mismanagement, and you continue to attack on Facebook, in this form at the BZA, and it's clearly in violation of Robert's Rules of Order.
It is all the truth.
Well, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree, and the record is
I've
pretty.
proved it time and time again.
The record is pretty robust, and numerous emails, even threatening emails to our previous township administrators and our current administrator.
See, aren't you violating your own Robert's Rules thing right now?
What's that?
Attacking another member?
No, I'm
Bringing up the past?
I'm
So
talking-
you can do it, but you don't want anybody else to do it?
Well,
sir.
I'm responding to
No,
what you
you're
said.
you're
and I'm-
violating your own rules.
I'm just saying that those kinds of things, and those are factual.
No, they're
and
not.
That is the justification for
Nope.
why we're doing this.
Nope.
Go ahead, you have.
I agree with Mr. Burkholder. This is a continuously attack, not only to the board, to the residents in Facebook, as well as in these meetings. We're trying to maintain a business meeting, not an attack meeting. So I would agree with the president of this board. Let's move on to make sure the township is getting the business of the township taken care of, not the name calling, constantly belittling the employees, individuals. That's just not how a trustee should carry themselves. It has to stop.
And I just have one other thing to say.
Go ahead, Mr. Evans.
You stop, devil. I see you, devil. You have no authority.
You're out of order, Mr. Evans.
leave.
Here you go
No.
again.
We are equal. You're telling me to leave?
This is the hypocrisy I'm faced with daily here. I've spoken the truth on everything and can prove it.
Roll call on the amendment, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
the amendment passes. Any further discussion on the,
I move to amend the agenda to include much needed stuff. Again, things that have been requested numerous times and ignored. First is on road work. We need to have a discussion on that. That's not included in there. The JEDZ open seat that's been ignored since the individual resigned back on February 4th. Aggregation, Trebles here. I would like to add them to the agenda because we need to have a discussion on that. A new one, Liberty Christian Culvert request. I've been asking about the sheriff contract, but actually with all these others, I could put that off to the next meeting. I would like a discussion of a censure of Ms. McKee for violating the Open Meeting Act by participating in my resident forum and her discussing township matters, which is a violation of ORC. We also need a discussion on zoning enforcement concerns, the lack of basic understanding and improper permits and occupancy permits being issued. We have a 6-foot privacy fence that was approved almost to the street, and that is not proper. There is harm being done to this township. I would like a discussion on the comprehensive plan. It's going on its 3rd year with no action since last June when there was an improper map proudly hung by Mr. Burkholder around this hall. That was actually our 2014 zoning map and not the future land use map. And we need to add prosecutor requests. There's only one on the agenda regarding Summit Road, but we also need to add a request regarding the flooding on Tollgate about the landowner's responsibility to deal with that water stoppage, the legality of limiting public comments at special meetings to agenda only items. I don't know why that's been not addressed. And also, there was a prior opinion that was authorized that the other two on the board wanted to limit me from speaking under public comments. Where is that? And then also public records, we need to discuss that, how it's being ignored and not fulfilled. Ms. Coutinho and Mr. Burkholder are willfully withholding public records, including records of an over $15,000 illegal reimbursement for Medicare that is prohibited by federal law and nothing's being done, those records are being hidden, and I believe that's fraud and cover-up.
Is there a second to this lengthy amendment? I'll ask a second time. Is there a second to this amendment? Hearing none, the amendment fails. I do have discussion on the agenda as far as willing to take amendments when they're proper. I guess my question, Mr. Evans, did you have any discussion since the township administrator creates the draft agenda? Did you discuss any of these items with our township administrator prior to this meeting?
Well, that's new because you, Ms. McKee, have stated previously that the president, you create the agenda. I've submitted those requests multiple times to our administrative assistant and copied all. So people are aware. There's a couple new ones, the Liberty Christian culvert request.
You say culvert?
Culvert, yes, ditch, culvert.
Yeah.
Request, that was new, because that just came up over the weekend. But no, everybody's been made aware, especially the prosecutor request. And the comprehensive plan, I've been trying to have that dealt with for quite a while. I know you've told residents in the beginning of the year that, oh, we're gonna hire a new firm. Why? We're gonna have it addressed by April. Didn't happen. We need to move forward on these items, and it's not hard to address these. And even the road work, we do not have the road work on here. So are we not going to address the road work again? Last year we had to do it when it was cold and raining because it wasn't addressed. I tried to get this started earlier this year. It was refused to be added to the agenda again, and twice in a row agenda items were refused. Then we had to have a special meeting for that agenda item because apparently you guys had realized that you flubbed.
You're out of order because you're going back to past questions that have already been dealt with. I will have a comment though. Is not the engineer request road work estimate on this agenda, is that not what you wanted to talk about? Am I correct?
There are two parts. That is for the repaving, but then we also have the state competitive bid road preservation portion, and that's what I've tried to put on the agenda.
We have that document. I thought that's on here, the preservation, don't we?
On the agenda is not preservation, is not, the only thing on here is engineer request road work estimate.
Right. But I have documents here from relative to Strouser, the roads that are being.
So you're going to include?
I have that document, so I thought that was included under this.
No.
item.
I've asked, the agenda should be clear not only for us, but also transparency to the public.
I'll move to add your road work to this agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second this on there.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
The only other comment I have is I have talked to the township administrator. The township administrator has only been here for 8 days now, and one of the things regarding the numerous prosecutor opinions we've had, and by the way, let's have some clarification. Our previous administrator resigned at the end of February, so a lot of this could not be followed up on. And I think it's only fair, and I think we need to show some grace to our new administrator to give him an opportunity to look at that list. We're still in transition from what our previous administrator was working on and what Mr. Spurgeon now has inherited all these things. So it seemed to make more sense before we keep adding all these prosecutor opinions that we let Mr. Spurgeon have an opportunity to see the current list, and then if we can get those things to things you'd like Mr. Evans to him ahead of time.
So it's just more excuses because Mr. Burkholder, you maintained the point of contact with the prosecutor. You were over the administrator. So when the administrator left, you were supposed to be doing it, but you took off to campaign. Now, we can approve these things, and as they're taken care of, we can do it, but why wait on the approval to wait? The people on Tollgate Road have been suffering for years. We've had a management consultant flub it. We've had two other administrators, and it's time we start actually getting things done and handled properly. But to just refuse the prosecutor request, you did that on the roof contract and delayed that. I just don't understand the mismanagement.
Do you have the resolution that is needed to forward that request to the prosecutor?
No,
yes or no?
as we discussed before, it's a simple template. Our administrative assistant created it, so all you have to do is fill in the blanks. So whatever prosecutor requests we want throughout the meeting, add to it, we approve it, it's done.
Yeah,
It's not complicated, Mr. Burkholder.
There are items on there. There's a criteria for the prosecutor. So I'm gonna take a roll call on the amendment to add the road work that Mr. Evans has requested. So call the question. Roll call, please.
Didn't
Yes.
we?
Tell me where you're
No, that's for
Mr.
the-
Evans?
This is for the.
We already
Yes.
added the amendment.
Do you,
This is what I'm talking about.
would you
don't
please
know
be
what we're
quiet?
doing.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
What is this on?
This is to add the road work to make
Did
certain.
we not just do that?
We did the roll call or not, since we have all these amendments.
Road department's lot and ceiling, we've already did that.
Okay.
This is what I'm talking
We
about.
will-
It's- You don't know
Mr.
what's
Evans?
going on.
Well, this is an example of what we're dealing with. Roll call on the full agenda, as amended.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
thank you. Okay. Our next item is the continuation of the public hearing for a substantial text amendment to the zoning resolution. This hearing was previously opened at our previous meeting, and we are continuing that here tonight. This has to do with an amendment to text amendment to Article 5, Section 512, Area Variances B, Standards for Area Variances 2, whether a variance is substantial. And we'll go through this very quickly again so that the audience, there may be some new people here that weren't at the previous hearing. The Zoning Commission submitted a zoning text amendment to Lincoln County Planning on February 13th, 2025. They set a public hearing date for March 19th, 2025. And they had that hearing and continued that hearing to April 2nd. In the interim, they got a recommendation from the Lincoln County Planning Commission on the requested text amendment. The hearing was on the 2nd, and on the 7th of April, that was submitted to the Township Trustees for consideration. That hearing date was on April 30th, 2025, and we continued the hearing date at that time until tonight to give residents and anyone else interested an opportunity to talk about or speak either for or against the text amendment. And let me read the recommendation. The recommendation from the Etna Township Zoning Commission regarding Z-25-3 zoning amendment. The Zoning Commission held a public hearing, as we said, on April 2nd for this application. Text amendment, Section 512, area variances. B, standards of area variances. 2, whether a variance is substantial. And the amendment is I, as used in Section 512B2, a substantial means a deviation of more than 25% from a regulatory requirement. Before, there had not really been a definition for that. The recommendation from the Lincoln County Planning Commission was that this text amendment is compliance with the Etna Township zoning resolution and also with the Ohio Revised Code. So at that time, and it was by unanimous decision that that full text amendment be forwarded to the Board of Trustees, which is why we are here tonight for this hearing. So at this time, since the hearing remained open, it was continued till tonight, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this amendment? And if so, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and we will proceed from there.
Letitia McIntyre, 15 3rd Avenue Southwest, President of the Zoning Commission. We are in great favor of this being approved. Also, when we had went to a zoning appeals / zoning commission training at the end of the month, this was confirmed for 25%. So we know that we are on board, ready to get this started and rolled. So we ask for approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else at this time would like to speak in favor of the text amendment? Is there anyone that would like to speak against this text amendment to our zoning resolution? Anyone that would like to speak against it at this time? Hearing none, I will open it up for the board's comments.
Should we close public comments and then get on with the hearing?
Well, this is part of the hearing, so is there any comments from the trustees at this time?
I made my comments clear on the date that we had the hearing, which was confirmed the 25% for the variance, so I'm clear on everything. Thank
Very
you.
good, I recall. Mr. Evans, anything at this time? as
Yes,
part of the public
I
hearing?
just think this is another example of the mismanagement that's been going on. We've been trying to get this done for 16 months.
You're out of order, Mr.
The
Evans.
original
You are
zoning
speaking
commission
negatively of other
recommendation was
individuals.
on
You're out of
September
order.
24th last year. I remember it's my birthday. It should have been forwarded to the Licking County Planning Commission 5 days later by September 29th. It wasn't. Mr. Burkholder thought that it was going to go to the trustees. It never came to the trustees, even though that was the wrong path. So they had to start over. And this is the type of mismanagement that puts our residents and township in danger, because something could have come that this could have prevented or helped at least litigate on our side. So these are the constant delays and mismanagement I'm talking about. Even last special meeting we had on this, on the 30th, the agenda didn't even say public hearing. Nobody knew it was a public hearing.
Mr.
If
Evans,
you looked at, no,
you
this
made
is
that
about
clear.
this matter. So we had to, I implored that we at least hold it open here and put, it's a public hearing on this agenda. But even so, there was no resolution ready last week, so there was already a planned delay of another week to address it. These kind of things hurt our township, and this is why it's important to not limit to 2 minutes, because the amount of impropriety and just wrongdoing that's going on in the township is astounding, and it needs to be dealt with. The whole issue where the proper timeline wasn't being followed was a fight, and only I and one other member of the zoning commission was standing up for it. Nobody else on staff, nobody else on this board or in the township was speaking out to follow the law. That's wrong. So I'm glad we're finally moving forward, but this should have been done last year.
Mr. Evans, I take great exception. We've had a tremendous amount of transition here, and I do want to make one thing perfectly clear. It is not the administrative assistant's responsibility to prepare resolutions. You've prepared them in the past. I've prepared them. Rosalind's prepared them. And we have an administrator here that I suggest you work with cooperatively and assist in preparing that. But once again, you want to assign it to the administrative assistant. It is not her job. She is not the subject
So I'm
matter.
supposed to prepare a resolution for this text amendment that you have controlled from and impeded from day one. Make up your mind. Do you want to do it or do you want other people to do
Well,
it?
I've had enough of your personal attacks, quite frankly, and I'm going to keep my cool on that. So that's why we continued it. I actually voted to continue the hearing because you wanted to continue it and give the audience another opportunity to have input. That was the right thing to do. Now, you like to weaponize it against me, but that was the right thing to do, and that did give us time to go ahead and prepare that resolution. You have said in the past, if you're going to have this diligent software, that if someone brings something to the board, that it is that individual trustee's responsibility, because we've not had an administrator for basically almost an entire year, to work with the staff and with the administrator to prepare those necessary documents as a team, rather than playing the game. Well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that.
Why do
and I
you
didn't,
block
so.
me constantly?
What-
We
what do
still
you-
don't have
what do you-
diligent
what do you mean-
implemented.
what do
We
you mean
still
by
don't
block?
have
What do you
anything done
mean by
properly.
block? Could you tell us what that blocking is?
You
How does
blocked,
that-
you blocked,
Could you
you
tell us
blocked
what that
the
is?
agenda items. You blocked the road crew roof that it almost fell on an employee this past week because you ignored it for over a year, and then you blocked not only the prosecutor's opinion, but the contract changes required twice.
You never.
Mr. Burkholder, you
never
are culpable
presented-
for that.
Well, that's your opinion.
That's the fact.
Is there anyone else, after you've heard what the board had to say, is there anyone else that would like to have a second shot at coming to the podium? Possibly not, but you're welcome to if you'd like to have something to say here. I don't think there's anything else from me on
I
the
have
board.
nothing else.
And
Thank
so, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second it. Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Okay. Are we ready to take action on this resolution 2025-024? Is there?
Yeah, I
a
move
motion?
to approve resolution 2025-024. Resolution adopt the recommendation from the zoning commission pertaining to the request to amend the zoning resolution Article 5, Section 512, area variances, B, standards of area variances, to whether a variance is substantial, as presented.
And the only thing I'd like, I'll second that. And under discussion, I'd like to add that, again, to read the text amendment for Article 5, Section 512, Area Variance B, Standards of Area Variances 2, whether a substantial variance is substantial, as used in Section 512B2. Substantial means a deviation of more than 25% from a regulatory requirement. And the reason that we wanted to pass this text amendment is to give some guidance to our Board of Zoning Appeal. What is a standard? They still have discretion, but this gives them some idea what substantial means. It's limited to this specific area of the code because the word substantial appears in a number of other references within our code, and we didn't want that 25% to apply to those sections. So it's this specific section. Is there any other, Ms. McKee, would you have anything?
I
Anything
don't.
else?
I'm just glad we clarified it and we can now move on.
Very good. Anything else from the board? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Is there a motion? Now we're at the adoption of the minutes. We're trying to catch up on our minutes. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes
Uh,
for March 4th, 2025 meetings and March 18th, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second that. Discussion?
Yes, there's been ongoing issue with a lack of proper review of the minutes and their creation. We are repeatedly told that they're being reviewed by others when there are glaring errors still present suggesting the reviews are not being done or without care. I will be voting no on these and all future minutes until this board is interested in providing correct meeting minutes, which are the official record of the meeting. I have repeatedly made the board aware of serious errors, including missing motions, wrong votes, even multiple 5 votes cast with non-board members showing to have voted, only to be ignored and incorrect minutes shoved through. Additionally, fiscal officers neglecting her duty to ensure the meeting minutes correctly reflect the meeting proceedings by certifying them when they are knowingly incorrect. Once there is a willing and competent board, I will move to provide the corrections needed. I ask that this statement in its entirety be placed
You're out of
with each
order,
of
calling
these
this board
motions
incompetent.
in
You're out of
the
order,
minutes
Mr.
with my
Evans.
no votes now and moving
Restrain
forward.
your-
And I would just like to say, if anybody wants an example of that, go to the 2024 February 20th meeting, where it doesn't even contain our discussion about voting for a zoning inspector and a planner, missing total motions and all that, and it's on there. It's not the correct motions I provided, but it's what's up there, what Mr. Burkholder signed, and it's still not corrected, even though I brought that to the board's attention some time ago.
You're out of time, okay.
I'll
Ms. McKee?
recommend that
recognize you.
we look into a better system, meaning software for as our minutes and our agenda. I would ask that our administrator check into a better system for us since there's an issue. And as you guys know, previously, Mr. Evans is the one that brought this to and we supported him to purchase this. And it's been nothing but problems. With that being said, he wants to do an upgrade on it. He tells us that it's easy to use. He's never had a problem. Is that correct, Mr. Evans? And
Very
because
easy.
it's easy, I don't understand why he will not work with our administrative assistant to help her if there's a problem. She's
I've been
continuously have said there is an issue with the system. So I would ask that our administrator would check into a better system. There was one that we were looking into before. The city of Reynoldsburg uses, I can't remember, Civic
Plus.
Plus. I would ask that you check into it just to see if there is a way that we may take advantage of that system so we can move forward and stop having these issues if there's an issue.
And my second comment on this, it's not an issue with the system. Those minutes that were checked by the others and approved were in Word, printed in front of everybody. It's a lack of review, a lack of concern. And like I said, we've had to pull back minutes because of the ego of this board not caring about whether the minutes are correct. And again, the February 20th minute had nothing to do with this system. I actually caught us up months behind having it transcribed. Those are the minutes that Mr. Burkholder couldn't even properly get posted into our journal and online without missing sections and all that. So it's an issue of mismanagement. The system is great. Carbondale uses it. Every other entity uses it perfectly fine, but for some reason, Etna Township, it doesn't work. It's not a system issue, it's a user, and I actually used to work with the administrative assistant before the agendas were created and before that, and correct all the errors before it was published. But now I get a notification of draft and the email goes out to everybody. I don't have the opportunity because I'm not allowed. And who is over the staff? Mr. Burkholder was.
No.
Now it's our administrator. I hope he does not do that because we can fix a lot of the stuff if we take Mr. Burkholder's hands out of it.
You're incorrect. I'm sorry again to have to correct you repeatedly, but I don't have that. And for the record, and I don't want to put any of our staff ever on the spot in a public meeting, but I think they're anxious to speak to this. I have been in the hall and have seen it firsthand. When the system has a glitch, it adds more people as voters. Our administrative assistant has contacted Diligent and they have verified that there's a glitch in the system. It's not operator error. There's a serious problem with the system.
That has nothing to do with the missing motions and it's a lack of proper oversight. It's a it's the
I'm sorry,
verbatim minutes.
you've already had your second.
Yeah, because
so
you
I'm
don't
gonna have
want to actually address
no.
the issue.
I'm going to take my second time. We're going to follow the rule here. Anyway, there is a problem with the system, and I also want to, I guess, let everybody know that our administrative assistant has contacted you, Mr. Evans, on more than one occasion and invited you to come in and work directly with her so there doesn't have to be the back and forth on the correction of the minutes, and you have not responded. So that's where you have to work with the administrative
So
assistant.
why is the
they're
agenda
correct.
being pushed out without a check for errors, without a check for being proper, all the motions being placed in there? The documents, our fiscal officer still not putting documents. So you guys are still not putting documents in the diligence system, and you're still killing trees, printing it all on paper instead of just going by the system that we should. It took you 8 months to even log in for the first time in
Mr.
that
Evans,
system.
you continue to attack, so I don't have anything else on
Because
that.
I know what needs to be done.
So roll call, please, on the motions to adopt these minutes, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes,
Ms. McKee?
we will move on. Okay, now we come to the point of public comments. I guess I will let our visitors here tonight go first. You'll have 3 minutes to come to the podium, state your name and address, and of course the company that you represent. And we'll start with that, and then we'll let the rest of the citizens come up, and or any other visitors, and have their comments as well. So if you come up, representatives from Treble.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My name is Erin Schmerschneider. I'm Managing Director with Traybell Energy, 875 North High Street in Columbus, Ohio. This is my colleague Larry Taylor, also with Traybell Energy. Thank you very much for having us this evening. I wanted to take the opportunity to speak with the board and the residents that are in attendance about the various energy aggregation programs that are in place for the community. The partnership with Traybell precedes this current board. We've actually worked with the township since 2015, so we've had a working partnership together for the past 10 years. Traybell Energy themselves have been established since 2010, so we've been in the energy space in Ohio for 15 years. We work with 150 communities across the state of Ohio, everything from a very small rural 250 household community through city of Columbus and everyone in between. So we have a very wide-spanning relationship with many, many communities throughout the state. As it pertains to Etna specifically, really tremendous success since the program was established. It was voted on by residents in November of 2014. So everyone who resided within Etna Township went to the ballot and was able to have the opportunity to say, yes, I want aggregation, or no, I don't want aggregation for natural gas and electric. That passed for both, and the program was initially established, like I said, in 2015. Since that point in time, there's been $4 million in total program savings. So over the course of those 10 years, that averages to $2,000 in savings per participant. So that's about $200 per year that an average participant is saving by taking advantage of these programs that are in place. So really, truly fantastic success. Kudos for the board for establishing, the programs subsequently from them originally being voted on in 2015, and fantastic for the participants who are able to save, especially now, the economy is not getting any better, unfortunately. Couple other notes I did want to make here. The current program for natural gas is expired as of April 2024. The electric program will be expiring this month in May of 2025. Electric will be expiring this month. It is important to attend to both these programs to get renewal programs in place, as we are seeing 20% increases upcoming on June 1 for both electric and natural gas. So to avoid further increases and knowingly having residents who will end up paying more as of June 1, it's very important to get these programs renewed and make sure that they're established to avoid any type of disruption that might come as a result of not renewing.
What communications did you have with?
Is this public comments, or we can?
Well, I think
That's why I
This is-
asked for it to be on the agenda so we could have it properly, but you seem to want to break the rules and now have that back and forth now. What is
Did you
it?
communicate with Mr. Spurgeon about trouble?
No, I have not. I have sat down with him once. We talked about many issues, but I've not heard from him on the many issues. I know he's
Okay.
busy learning, but I am in
What-
contact with the prosecutor and also many residents about this, but I'll
Well, give us an update then, Mr. Evans.
well,
'cause
the communication, you asked me, so the communication
Let me
we've had.
finish the question, sir. Try to show some decorum. The question was, you worked with the former administrator, Susan Bedsole, on this, and you were going to get with the prosecutor. What's the update on that? What'd you find out from the prosecutor?
The former administrator did nothing. She was supposed to have submitted the information, she did not. Just like she did not provide don't start gabbling when you ask the question, Mr. Burkholder.
The former administrator, Mr.
She wouldn't even respond to what our priorities were. So, but I had a meeting with Aaron and Larry, and their proposal was locking us into a 3-year agreement with just a slight savings. Now, the problem I've got with this whole trouble agreement is there are the base agreements for the suppliers, 2 years, but then there's an underlying 41-month contract to lock us in. That's not right. We didn't have that before, but that's what Ms. McKee put through. Now,
You're out of order again.
no, I'm not
Get to the
not
point.
out of order. So
Keep
when this
moving
was
along.
pushed through, there are talks of savings. However, we could have saved even more going with either the county that proposed or any of the other ones, or going to the apples to apples site and just selecting the same exact supplier at a lesser rate. So the savings that we could have had would have been less, and the township, actually, Mr. Burkholder, you voted for this. We got away from the aggregator to save money
I voted for what?
to go to get out of the aggregator agreement for the town hall and the lighting districts. Do you forget that?
Well, yeah, we didn't, we.
To save money
wanted to go
because
with
the
different-
aggregator agreement was more costly than what anybody else could get. So right now, the prosecutor is reviewing if we can get out of the agreement, because I don't believe it's a good agreement. Treble has not lived up to the public records requests under the prior contract, the new contract.
Hold on, have you forwarded this
So
on
we're,
to?
We most certainly-
we have,
we most certainly
we
have
have discussions with
Your
the
time
prosecutor.
is up, Mr. Evans.
You don't want to learn.
So, no, we're gonna keep this controlled.
But this should be an agenda item.
Have you communicated this to Mr. Spurgeon? All of this update?
No, when?
I don't know, have you had any time to communicate with him?
I've sat down with him, but again, he's learning basic
Okay.
governance of the
Ms.
township.
McKee.
I
Go ahead.
really, and I've sent an email to Mr. Burkholder and Susan, our previous administrator, months and months ago in regards to Mr. Evans continually to make accusations that are not true in regards to meeting getting the information from Trebell. I have the emails to prove it. They set up several dates for Mr. Evans to go and meet with them.
No,
From their law,
Okay.
excuse me, I have the email.
Let her
To
talk.
meet with them, the law firm, they kept renewing dates for you, and every time they would, you would come up with an excuse of why you couldn't go.
No, because
But
they
offered
put
the-
a condition on it that I could
I'm
not
gonna
disclose it,
I'm
and that's
going to-
improper.
we're not gonna-
So our attorney needs to deal with it.
We're not
They are
gonna-
not a good partner for us. They haven't been.
Mr. Evans?
We need to get out of
You
it.
need to control yourself. Well, first of all, I have a simple request. The next time, please confirm that you're coming so that we can allocate the correct time with that.
Most certainly. Would this be an
I
appropriate
am
time to request
familiar, we have had questions, we seriously have concerns. We should not have an overlapping service agreement. And Mr. Taylor, I recall very vividly your presentations from the past and your disrespect to this community and to this board. So I'm not going to mediate here. What I suggest is that we have concerns, Mr. Evans has concerns, Ms. McKee has comments, and you need to set up a meeting with our administrator. And Mr. Evans, I suggest you brief him as soon as you can so we can deal with this issue. And the other thing is, we're now getting calls from residents who say they're confused, they get a letter, Energy Harbor's no longer your supplier. They don't mention the new company that bought Energy
Dynegy.
Harbor
It's a
Energy,
new company
right.
that
That's
was
not
mentioned
mentioned in the letter, and they go, what's going on? What do I have to do? And so if you're currently our broker, then that needs to be taken care of. And we need
Absolutely,
and we need to be
talking
provided
about
services prior to when you want us to renew. But that
Well, you- with all due
41-month contract, we, the board here, should have the option to go out and choose a different broker. Do you agree, Mr. Evans?
Well, I do, but I would also like to say I did see an email stating that they've been trying to get in touch for months.
Since October. We've been
And
trying
that
to
was
get in
you,
touch
Mr.
since October.
Burkholder.
Yes.
And
And
you
we-
ignored them.
No.
We needed to
No.
deal with things
I
earlier. So
referred that over to the administrator who came in October.
and who
had a
oversees the
copy of
administrator?
that.
You did, and you did nothing.
Well,
We,
thank you.
we
for
have time and time vendors
We're
saying
going-
there's no response.
Well, you said that for 3 years,
So,
Mr. Evans.
excuse me,
Your
do you
turn.
have a date set up to meet with the administrator? Is that something that she can,
So as a courtesy, Mr. President, if I may,
You may.
Madam Vice President, as a courtesy to our guests, I have sent you an email.
Thank you.
I didn't have a lot of time to dedicate, and this is day 8. I'm interested in learning. I can't make a comment because I don't understand the circumstance, but I do wish to hear Mr. Evans' perspective. I wish to hear yours, and I'd be better positioned to make some recommendations to the board.
Thank you.
But you do have an email with my business card.
Yes,
as a
we
line
will
of
be reaching
contact.
out to get on the agenda officially for the next meeting. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you for having us.
and I appreciate you coming just to let the residents and the board know the savings that this township has had with the company in the past. So that's a good start
And
right
we
there.
could have had more.
Thank you very
But
much.
Mr. Spurgeon,
Now,
the one thing I would recommend is reviewing the past emails of the administrator, search for aggregation, search for trouble, and you'll see the email history, and you can kind of get a history of what's been going on.
And Mr. Spurgeon, I don't have anyone forwarded you the actual contracts, the service agreement that we have with Treble?
They have not.
Okay.
That again would be in the email.
And you forwarded it to it?
I forwarded it to the prior administrator, which again, we don't start new at every new employee. The zoning department didn't start new with the new zoning inspector. There's history, and that's why we have the email system
Yes,
that we do.
Mr. Evans. Anyone from the public wants to come
Thank
forward
you
and make
very
comments?
much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
You're very
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
We'll make sure to get in touch to probably be on the agenda for next time around.
Yep.
And might I just say, I know Larry personally. He's a fantastic individual. I've never known him to be disrespectful or
Yeah.
anything, but
Oh.
ultimately professional.
Well,
So
he
I
was.
appreciate
We,
your, I
we,
totally
we
appreciate your-
respectfully disagree, and make
We will
sure you
respectfully
contact the township administrator directly
We certainly will.
so that there's no confusion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else
Thank
at
you
this
much.
time? Come on up. Thank you.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Gary Glosser. I live in Etna Township at 10 Trevi Court, Etna, Ohio. And this is my wife, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
Was that Trevi Court?
Trevi Court.
Trevi Court, thank you.
We are senior citizens living in the Etna Township. Monday or Tuesday of this week, we received a letter stating that our electric supplier was terminating operation with Etna Township at the end of the month, and that we would need to be procuring services in a different manner. So my question in coming here today is, and I'm beginning to find out, is there any evidence of new contracts being made by the township? Or what is that status? And it sounds to me like it's pretty much still in a work in progress that's hopefully can be resolved, because we don't know exactly whether we should be going to another provider or waiting on what happens with the township.
Yes.
I would say right now, you're better off going to the Apples site. I can give you my phone number and provide you the options, and it's cheaper. There are, if there's nothing that's done, it just goes to AEP. But again, it's cheaper there. It's been cheaper there. And there is discussion, but again, the current supplier wanted us originally to lock into the 3-year. even though it was just no specific rate, no specific term. I asked for some different ones, but we're actually looking to see if we can get out of the contract, because there's other aggregators that have come in at a lower cost, even the county. So it's all about saving everybody money. And again, we as a township, this building, we moved away from the aggregator to save more money because it was the best rate.
And what I would suggest, Mr. Evans, would you please share that information with the administrator? And before you leave, if you'd like to contact our administrator so that any other inquiries that come in can be directed to the
And
administrator.
here's my phone number. If you just call me, I can walk you through it.
So, thank you.
Please share that with the administrator, Mr. Evans, so we have a single point of contact. Thank you.
I've been sharing it online for quite a while.
Anyone else? So will they need to, I guess that'll be the solution. Is there anything? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Hello again. Letitia McIntyre, 15 3rd Avenue Southwest. First, we'd like to welcome Mr. Spurgeon as our new administrator. I had an opportunity to come in and briefly talk to you. I feel that you're going to be good for the township. Also, Rome was not built in a day. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And I ask the board, everyone, please, I've put this in an email several times. Please, let's do our best as a township to put our personal differences aside and work together for the betterment of the township. I am embarrassed to say that when I mention I am from Etna Township, everyone goes, oh, mudslinging. That is the term that was used. I heard it about 50 times yesterday at the poll. I look for better things. As a citizen, as somebody who has been a part of this for 10 years, I look for better things in the township from everyone. I welcome the change. I welcome the new aspects of life here, the new perspective that we have. I know we have a lot of new people coming in, and I just ask if everybody just be patient, work together. Like I said, Rome's not built in a day. It's going to take a little while for everything to be on board, but it'll get there. And I have that hope and that faith that that's going to happen.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia. Well said. No, Mr. Evans, I'm going to not recognize you. I'm going to recognize this gentleman first. You are out of order, sir.
Oh,
you are a resident.
choose?
You
Okay.
can go afterwards. He came up first. Sit down. Yes, sir.
Bernard, 10785 Palmer Road, Pataskala, Ohio. I want to welcome the new administrator. Good luck. We've had, like my hat, thank you. We never had an administrator. We've never had a zoning planner. We've never had all these other positions before in Etna Township. When Mr. Evans was president, which lasted about 3 months, and he did nothing but belittle the other two trustees, so they took the handle and set him down. He said that he didn't realize that Carlisle did so much work. There's so much work being the president that I'm just overwhelmed. I can't do my real job. We need an administrator. So they've hired a temporary administrator. You are the 4th administrator since he's been here. He's not been here 4 years yet.
Mr. Bernard, please try to keep your comments positive as best you can.
He should be able to say anything he
Mr.
wants.
Evans.
Keep it positive.
It's freedom of speech.
Keep going.
I would want to know about the road work on Palmer Road. Is there a guarantee or a span that was supposed to last? If you would do a road inspection, you will see that I think the snow plows have scraped most of the coating off, even scraped the paint off. So, you know, that's kind of evidence that the coating's gone, that the paint's gone. You two do a lot of work, according to Mr. Evans on Facebook, because the roundabout cement is falling, and he went and inspected it, and that's right. And There's people driving right through it, and it's because of you two, because you guys didn't give it enough thought. You should have thought more about that, so that people wouldn't drive through it. So I don't know how you guys are, responsible for that, but that's his
And he was,
action. Re-election time. Mr. Evans is using the township hall to promote his re-election campaign. I can't wait for him to be a resident and he'll have 3 minutes to talk like the rest of us. And then if he speaks out of turn, you can escort him out. You other guys in the building that's planning on running, you better start doing it. I think about a dozen donuts, and he ate 6 of them, took care of the last meeting, so they took coffee and donuts, watch his credit card, make sure we're not paying for that too. And I heard a good one that
15 seconds.
described Mr. Evans very well. The reason they put directions on the shampoo bottle is because of Mr. Evans.
Okay, who's next, please? State your name and address, and please address the board.
That's what's nice about freedom of speech. You can be wrong, lie, it doesn't matter.
You're out of order, Mr. Evans. Go ahead, sir.
Craig Zacher, 79 Trail East. I happen to be at Mark's first campaign rally here in the township, and there was only about 6 of us. And I can say honestly, Trustee McKee did not do or say any official business at your campaign rally. And there are witnesses that will back me up also. Thank you.
I've got proof. And I'll speak now. I would like to take exception to the zoning chair's comments about working together, because I've actually tried to work with her for over a year to try to make sure that ORC is followed, the timeline's followed, and refuse to speak, refuse to talk, refuse to follow the law and that. Just follow the law, do your job, and do what's best for the residents. It's pretty simple. Regarding trouble, we keep hearing about all the money that's saved. Yeah, but we could have saved even more. And that was evident by the commissioner coming in with their proposed rates under troubles. So everybody in this township has been paying more than they should have. And again, I would recommend everybody go to Apples, the state Ohio site for the gas and electric. But regarding the false comments about needing an administrator and that, I didn't bring in the consultant, Ms. McKee did, and I found out from a county official that McKee talked to him back in November, December before taking her seat about that individual, and he warned against bringing that person in. Ms. McKee, this is my time. And this entire thing of Rome wasn't built in a day. These are difficult things, okay? Our road superintendent talked about needing to seal his driveway, seal the parking lot. Within an hour, I contacted a vendor. Within an hour, I got the proposal and then forwarded the board. It's not that difficult, but right now we've got a roof that's falling in and almost hit one of our employees. He was very scared because, Mr. Burkholder, you ignored it for over a year, then you lied saying I knew about it for years when I only found out about it recently from that same employee, complaining that their equipment's constantly getting wet, the roof's falling in and that. You've lied time and time again. And as the poll shows, people aren't buying it. Less than 30% within the township voted for you for clerk. That's a Carlisle level of support there. Don't you get it? We need to move forward with this. And whether I strongly disagree with trouble, but that was disrespectful to not add them to the agenda and then have a pseudo agenda discussion.
I didn't have anything to do with that.
I attempted to put it on the agenda and you refused, and then you had a pseudo agenda discussion here, so you can't make up your mind.
I did not.
Mr. Burkholder, this is my time. You can't make up your mind what you want to follow, what you don't. And I know you're watching the time, but this township deserves better. And Ms. McKee trying to shut down my resident forum, that's despicable.
You're out of order. Anyone else at this time?
John Hanson, Ridgewood Drive, Etna, Ohio. Mr. Evans, right, these are simple things, and all this stuff is very simple till you add in Mark Evans. Makes everything difficult, lengthy, you know, a half hour on a 3-minute project. Before I get too far here, I'd like to give a shout out to the fire department, and I'm glad to see Mr. Evans campaigning for him didn't hurt too bad. And especially Southwest, Violet, and Truel. We had a 3-alarm fire within our family, and especially at Southwest there, Captain Watling, W-A-T-L-I-N-G. These guys were just fantastic. This event began right around 6 o'clock, and we were there till about midnight, and major loss. But anyway, back to Mr. Evans. I think that there are 3 things to watch for with Evans is the cost. What is the actual cost of Mr. Evans? And it's much higher than it appears because of the way he does fuzzy math and explanations. His actions, the human suffering of employees. He's put out 10 people out of the township so far. And he has 2 on deck that he's aiming for. You know, we here in the township...
Address the board. Address the board, please.
In the township, we are lectured daily by a financially and emotionally incontinent bully. And just as an experiment today, I put up a little blog. Within 2 minutes, Mr. Evans is insane on Facebook again. You know, the experience of working or being near Evans, Trustee Evans, kind of shows all of us how difficult this can be. As far as the culture in Etna, you know, it takes leadership, and it's almost impossible to have leadership with a 5th grader mocking every little thing all the way. Leaders create the culture, how people feel, how they perceive our township. That creates the behavior of the employees, the residents, and he wonders why he gets blowback is because he attacks everyone. And that behavior creates the results. You know, we're getting the culture in Etna Township that we practice, permit, and promote. And I would ask that these, you know, when you're thinking about voting next time, do not allow Mr. Evans to return. That is permitting bullying and the idiocy you see every day, no matter what it is, even if it's just approving an agenda, going on and on again about the typos on a diligent or whatever it is. You know, a healthy company culture can boost, or help the organization can boost engagement, productivity, and employee retention.
20 seconds.
We're getting the exact opposite. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelley Marie Epoch, 114 Royalty Drive. I also wanted to welcome Mr. Spurgeon. We're also happy to have you here, and we've been waiting a while. But I want to bring up, again, it was mentioned, the empty vacancies on the JED and JED-Z boards. And we actually have more than just one, just get everybody's radar, maybe keep it on everybody's radar. JED number 2 is down a township appointee and our owner's appointee. And then Jackie's term is up in number 3, so there's 3 positions. Number 4 is down a Reynoldsburg appointee and Trustee McKee, that's 5, I believe that's down. Then Judge 7 is down 2 more people. So that's just the JEDs, not the JED-Zs. So if you can keep that on your radar and in mind for some good candidates.
That's something that our administrator is going to be looking at. It's on his agenda.
But yours didn't expire, correct?
No.
You got reappointed in November.
No, there was, it was a, I don't have the actual calendar, so I don't want to speak out.
I've been pushing for this to be properly dealt with, and it's been blocked.
Just so
Again
to be
tonight,
clear,
I tried to put it on the agenda and it's been refused.
Again, it's not been refused, but I'm just going to make it clear. The administrator is on their list of things to work on. So we've had that conversation. Is that correct, Mr. Bill?
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
Through the chair, Madam Vice President, yes, I have reached out and received, Holly was kind enough to construct a roster.
Yes.
Terms, and
Yes.
I've also reached out to Molly
From Reynoldsburg.
Pressure.
thank you, and I got that about 5 o'clock today. So we are aware, we are
Yes.
engaged, we're working on it. We're going to make sure the township has met its responsibility and the obligations to make appointments to that board.
Yes.
Well, we made appointments back in November of last year, correct?
Yep.
Well, that's what we're going to get our hands around, Mr.
Well,
President. We have
quite a bit.
have looked into that, and we're discovering information every day.
And I actually addressed that yesterday with the administrator and with the administrative assistant regarding that schedule, and we have that resolution.
Okay.
So, and we have advertised, we did have a vacancy, someone resigned shortly after appointment, and we have advertised. Well, I don't know, Mr. Evans.
Because you didn't respond to her and give
No,
any, she
that-
knew she
that's-
wouldn't get any support.
That's not correct,
That is
Mr.
correct.
That is not correct.
And so
That is not correct.
I just
And
want
so, well, let me finish
Sorry,
here.
Mr.
And
Evans,
so,
sorry.
we haven't had anyone apply. I actually reached out to an individual to see if they'd fill that spot because they were previously interested and they did not seem interested at that time. So I think it's incumbent for all of us, and we have, it has been out there on the web. We did advertise it. And the comment that, well, we didn't do this and that just simply isn't correct. So we hope, let me just say one thing though. I think some of the atmosphere, and the resident talked about the culture, and what has happened with the attacks on our zoning commission chair. And I've talked to other people in the community who say, I don't want to put my family through that. I don't want that constant criticism. If either we make a mistake or it is a created mistake that doesn't even exist, or we disagree with an elected official, I don't want that scrutiny. So I don't think it helps in recruiting when you have this constant personal attacks on other individuals. That's
See,
my
it's
opinion.
not an attack.
Ms. McKee?
Yes, sir.
She has the floor.
Just so you know that Molly from Reynoldsburg did send an email, and I know Mr. Spurgeon is trying to catch up on a lot of things. You got a ton of emails. And myself and Nicole Washington on that board, our term is about to expire, and I talked to Nicole, and she is interested in being back on the board, and so am I. And so I did make that clear in that email once I forwarded it to
Do we know that date, that your term expires?
I would have
I'm
to,
just-
like I
that's
said,
fine.
there's, yeah, so I would have to.
Just
I don't wanna speak out of
real
turn.
quickly though, I asked for an agenda item, it was refused about this, but we're having a pseudo agenda discussion here. But even the announcement for the TIRC wasn't published properly because it wasn't known apparently of what member was with what, and so nothing's been done correctly is the point, but I've been pushing for it.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
so, and I figured you guys, everybody knew about it. And I apologize, I haven't been able to call or email. This is my first opportunity. I just wanted to put it out there to let you know. I got it on my radar too. And I was
We
gonna.
appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And I wanted to say, if Rosalind is interested in staying, and she just said she would, I like the idea of having a trustee on the board. I like having a trustee on the board because that gives us, during the meetings, a person who's in the position of authority. But not only that, they readily, a lot of times, have answers and information that's relevant that comes up right then. So where we don't have to table something until we can find out or follow up. So it really is to Etna's advantage. Please don't make that face at me. It really is at Etna's advantage to have a trustee or person of authority right there along with us. And
But Nicole, yes, I agree.
And I think Rosalind has done an excellent job.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think that was pretty much it.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
much.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time, please?
Ryan Davis, 8807 Watkins Road. I know as residents we can't do anything about the infighting during the meeting, but right there was a prime example. I request that the chair, moving forward, do his best to limit animated and vocal disruptions during public comments, because we residents, if we speak both times, get less than 5 minutes to address this board. And I think it's absolutely embarrassing, among other things that happen to this board, to interrupt a resident when they're trying to speak their opinion. Thank you.
Is the chair going to take that advice?
Mr. Evans, I'm not going to continue to engage in your personal attacks and
It's
mean
not.
behavior.
It's a question.
I'll be happy to answer that question during trustee comments. Yes, sir.
Matthew Ravsberg, 46 Cedar Park Boulevard, Etna. First off, welcome to the new administrator. The residents have been waiting for this, and we're glad to have you on board. The first thing I'd like to find out is if this board has gotten our new administrator even a quality laptop to work from that's not dying if he trips over a cord, because that was on an agenda and not taken care of, and has not been on an agenda since. So I would like to hope if we're going to put money into a quality administrator, we're going to give them quality tools to do their job.
That has been taken care of.
And
he's got the authority to do it himself.
Yeah, we got that taken care of. Go ahead.
So that was addressed without the residents' knowledge.
No, he has authority, but the administrator has prior authority to get those tools, and that doesn't have to necessarily come for additional approval, a certain limit. But go ahead. Any other comments you have?
In addition to that, I would really like to know how it's been currently ongoingly advertised that there was a jet opening, because I would have more than happy put my name in the ring for that. But I just checked the website yet again now, and I don't see it on there anywhere. So I'd like to know how we're advertising that, because I know that's been an ongoing issue for a while. And I'd like to, you can't sit here and say that no one's applied when no one knows to apply.
I was told that was still on the web and that it went out on the listserv, so I can't answer that question because I don't know specifically, but I would request that you ask the administrator and follow up on that, because it should be out there.
And that's part of lack of oversight, that's nothing's checked and verified, even when known issues are made aware to the full board.
I will definitely schedule some time with the new administrator.
Thank you.
Anyhow.
We appreciate it.
Again, because I believe we've crossed paths before. Also, I see on here that once again we are having approvals for services without having multiple bids. I know that's been an ongoing thing that the residents have asked for, and it has been asked of each other up there, but it's still not happening, which is mind-boggling to myself how that can be. If you don't have other companies that you know of to quote with, I could definitely recommend a lot up here in Licking County that offer these services, because we have some great businesses here that would love to have opportunity to do government work.
Which service, sir?
The parking lot ceiling.
All right. Go ahead.
And then one of the last things is the way
30 seconds.
The way you guys address when public speaks, like whether you enjoy like trouble, don't like trouble, it doesn't matter. The way they were attacked when they were speaking, and the way some residents have, is atrocious. And I'm not going to say it's one person, because as a board, you guys are unified as one. I really wish you guys would find a better way to address these issues and do it in the public eyes, against the public and against customers. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that manager did not need to be treated like that in a hostile manner during public comments. And I hope that we can find a better way to go forward with that and get some of these items. There are good ideas here, but I can also understand why not passing 13 different items at once on the agenda change would happen, because I don't want to be here till midnight.
Right.
But these are issues that need addressed. We just need to piecemeal them one at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Chuck Bundy, 10254 Tollgate Road Southwest. This is an easy one. What are the chances of getting the published minutes of the trustees' meetings updated onto the website? Now, I think the last one's on there is January the 7th, and you approve them all the time, so I just wonder if you can get them on the website.
And that's part of the system. If we would actually use the system, it would automatically go on there and everybody would be notified. We wouldn't need to upload separately.
Thank you. And Mr. Spurgeon, do you please follow up on that as far as the...
Absolutely, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else at this time? I guess I didn't need to make you sit down again since the administrator's report, if you have a brief report. And again, Mr. Spurgeon's been here only 8 days.
Is there a reason he's just not doing it from his seat?
He can do it wherever he wants to, Mr. Evans, so
that's such
please,
petty.
please
See how petty
control
that
yourself.
was?
Mr. Spurgeon, go ahead. You have the floor.
As a courtesy, Mr. President, may I introduce myself to this wonderful
Yes, you
community?
may,
I've
of
tried
course.
shaking a lot of hands, but they don't know me. My name is Bill. I promise to you to be humble, to be kind. I'm a servant. I'll listen. Even if I disagree with you, I won't be disagreeable. I've tried, Mr. President, to get out in the field. I've engaged the prosecutor's office. We're going to try to get our hands on public record requests, opinions. I meet the sheriff's office, look at the contract for services. I've met members of Jed Z already to understand Jed Z, the funding models. This is what I do know. We have had some roiling at the waters in this building, and I'm here. And I'm dedicated to making a difference in the lives of this great community. That's why I'm here, to serve. I wasn't looking for a job, but I feel very privileged and blessed, and thank you for appointing me. I know we have decent, kind public servants right there. Holly and Ted wish to do well. Bubba wishes to do well. I walk by grace. I'm not perfect. Ask my wife. If I make decisions and they're not the right ones, I'll pivot, but I'll own them. I don't want folks walking around eggshells, so I'm going to support them. There's things we can do to make things better, and I agree with that, and we're determined to do that. But I just wanted to thank you. It's a privilege to lead, and I don't take that privilege lightly, and that's my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir.
I did have a question, Mr. Spurgeon, if you could, regarding the accessory structure and the fence and then Caldo. Where do we stand on that? Because I haven't been able to get any answers.
If I may, Mr. President?
You may.
If we have more work than we have people right now. I am forming some strong opinions on zoning and our land use plan. And that's because Mr. Evans has met with me, Ted's filled me in, and Mr. Olson and Letitia here have given me their time to learn. What I'm not advocating is an enforcement first philosophy. I'm advocating a self-compliance philosophy. I think we need to take a look at our zoning code. I think we need to take a look at our land use plan. I think we need to be on solid ground before we start issuing citations, those types of things. So there are individual circumstances that need to be addressed, but that's going to be my philosophy recommended to you moving forward. Egregious violators, absolutely. The ones who thumb their noses. But I've been in the regulatory industry for a long time, and that's the professional opinion I have come to.
Mr. Spurgeon, though, that's not what I asked, because this isn't about zoning violations. This is about improper approval of permits and certificate of occupancies and buffering requirements that if it continues, it's going to damage our township, because no privacy fence should be allowed to be installed in front of the structure, and it's within 60 foot of the road, 40 foot from the setback, and we can't have zoning staff thinking that it's just behind the setback. My question is, how is that being addressed? Yes, the comprehensive, all that, but I'm concerned that if somebody puts application for a pool in their front yard, it's going to be approved.
Mr. Evans,
how is that going to be addressed?
Mr. Evans, your concerns are so noted, and you have met with. Have you had an opportunity?
I have not gotten any answers.
Have you met with the administrator?
Yes, we were on site. We did a site visit. And I still cannot get answers. And what I'm concerned is that things are being approved that shouldn't be, and residents are affected.
Your comments are noted. I am not going to tolerate you browbeating the new administrator.
It's not browbeating.
It's browbeating.
It's not browbeating. It's oversight. It's oversight and supervision, because this impacts the residents,
You are
talk
out
to the
of
residents
order.
next to Caldo Concrete about how
Out
they
of
dealt
order,
with it.
that is a.
So you think
are out of order.
this
I'm
is
not gonna
proper?
comment. Do you have anything else?
I do not, Mr. President.
Thank you,
Thank
very
you.
good. We're gonna move on and not have these constant personal attacks against staff.
It is not personal
Yes,
tax.
it is.
It's called accountability.
Oh, yeah.
We need to enforce
Mr. Evans,
zoning,
you
and zoning
are
is not,
out.
and there's no
You are
oversight.
out of control.
Whose property is that you're referring to, Mr. Evans?
With the fence,
Yes, whose property is that and where?
I have no idea. I never even looked at the name
We're
because it
moving on
doesn't
from
matter
this,
who
we're
owns
moving on
it.
from this topic. We're going to old business.
Do you-
Diligent,
Mr. Walker, is
diligent, no, you're not going to attack the zoning inspector, Mr. Evans, as long as I'm around
We
here.
need to do our job.
Diligent invoice. I guess I will, sorry, raise my voice, but the fiscal office said.
Yes, I spoke to Diligent, and their billing department's supposed to be getting the corrected invoice because they had sales taxes just applied. We can't have sales tax on there. I don't want an auditor coming in saying, oh, what, was there a payment towards sales tax? So they're going back and having their billing department do that per Francine.
Yeah, but it's still above, it's.
And they're correcting the 8,400 to the 8,000, and that's what they're doing.
Are we keeping diligent?
Well, it's already automatically renewed for a year because we don't have a master calendar telling us when we have to address things that I've been pushing for years.
I move that we, under this, the question is, are we going to keep it? So I would make a motion that we have the township administrator look at a possible alternative.
Didn't we just do that?
In this regard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, didn't we do that earlier? So
I
now
don't
we're
know.
gonna do it again?
Well, whatever.
This
Mr.
is actually a vote. This is actually a motion.
Yeah, this is a motion,
Well,
so.
so-
Roll call, please. We're not gonna continue
No,
to have
no,
you
we have discussion,
weaponized.
2 minutes.
Well, go ahead.
So you want to, you let a system that you're not allowing to be implemented properly.
I have nothing to do with
To
the
be auto-renewed.
implementation.
Yes, you oversaw every employee and every.
I did not.
So you
I
can't, you
did
didn't even
not.
sign in for 8 months.
You're just a
So,
broken record.
Again, it's true. And so then you want to, we just had it auto-renewed, so you want to throw away $8,000.
No, I think we'll have to wait
And
until
every
the
other
next
entity is
expiration.
using it fine.
We
There may be a
understand.
glitch with a couple people with the votes, but that doesn't mean that we can't have the minutes for the people we get. That, we're using probably 5% of the system, and you're not allowing it to occur, but that's fine.
No, Mr. Evans, I again respectfully disagree. I do not have control over that system, and yet you constantly accuse me.
You've controlled
So
every employee.
I do not.
And every vendor.
I do not.
You did.
Can we
Oh,
get out of this
now
contract
for
early?
8 days, you know?
Hold it. You have a question?
Yeah, can we get out of this contract early?
No, we're in it for, it's an annual renewal.
Yeah, but.
And that's why having a master calendar showing when contract dates are coming up is important.
Stay on topic, please.
That is on
We've
top.
had a lot of problems, we could probably get out of the contract. And we're not the only jurisdiction that is having problems with the.
Right, that's true.
They're so Carbondale, all the other ones are just fine. They said there's a little glitch with the non-voting members, and I think they said 2 or 3. But again, most of the issue is not properly creating the agenda, putting the motions in there, we had stuff under member only when it shouldn't have been. And we're doing verbatim minutes. That's ridiculous. That's why we're behind. It's not that difficult.
10 seconds. I don't have anything to you, Ms. McKee.
I don't.
Roll call.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Is there a motion to discuss the Park National Bank investigation?
So move.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second. I want to know what the heck's going on.
Mr. Spurgeon?
So, Mr. President, I have done some seeking of information. As your new administrator, I want to have some opinion in case I was asked. What I do know is there is a matter of public record. A police report has been filed with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. I asked them for a determination whether it's a criminal or civil matter, and they believe it's a civil matter. What I don't know is what's going on as far as the investigation. I've been made aware there may be outside agencies looking at this for us, or might not be looking at that for us. I know we've asked for some updates, and I've not received an update to this point.
Mr. Spurgeon has been in contact with the law firm. I don't think they've returned your call, but this has been turned over to the township administrator, and he is waiting, which it should be, Mr. Evans. You can claim either way, but it should be. And he is waiting return call. Is that correct, Mr. Spurgeon?
That is, Mr. President.
I love how everything just waited for the administrator and waited for Mr. Burkholder. We passed this investigation back in January, and I believe in February, Bricker and Eckler were voted to begin that investigation. Nothing apparently happened. I've asked numerous times, and Mr. Burkholder, on April 15th, you said people are going to be interviewed next week. I asked by who? Nothing. Has anybody been interviewed?
We don't have
Apparently
that
not. We don't even know who is the attorney at Bricker and Eckler that's handling this.
Carly Sherman.
Okay, at least it's not the one that's conflicted with the prior fiscal officer. Why has this been delayed for so long? It should have been implemented in February, and this is just another mismanagement, another delay, because I want people to know that you were told by Julie Berry and the former fiscal
out of
officer
order. We're not going to discuss
December
the case.
13th.
We're not discussing
on
the
December
case.
13th that she accessed it, helping Jackie Coutinho with it. And again, it's very easy to access the thing from your phone. The bank has to send you a code. I bet you the only codes were sent to the fiscal officer. No, I'm not. This is 2 minutes about this investigation that you have flubbed, that you have mismanaged, and you have delayed for political purposes.
I have not, Mr.
So is it just pure incompetence?
No, it's neither, and I'll tell you.
So back in February, we approved this to be investigated, and you're just thinking, we're going to wait to hire Bill Spurgeon?
No.
And then he's going to, why can't we move forward on anything? Because number one, I want to clear my name because I know damn well I didn't do it. And for political purposes, some want to do this.
Well,
Ms. Varian told you on that date,
Mr.
and you're
Evans,
refusing
you are out
to
of
release
order.
your call logs, which are public records.
You are out of order.
Did Ms. Varian call you on December 13th?
I am not going to answer
How
any
would I know
questions
if she
regarding
did it?
this investigation. Well, you say a lot of things.
Mr. Burkholder, your incompetence in this or your
Mr.
malfeasance
Evans,
for political purposes
Mr.
is
Evans.
astounding.
I would like to speak.
Go
Please,
ahead.
thank you
Your
much.
turn.
I would make a motion to pay.
Let me answer before you make the motion, if I may. You always twist the facts. This was turned over to the previous administrator, Susan Bedsole, who resigned February 28th. Resigned.
March, April, May. You did nothing. How did you tell us last week or the 15th that people were being interviewed the next week?
They weren't being
But yet
interviewed.
you don't know if they were or
That's
not.
what
You
I was
don't know.
Okay, you're out of order, miss.
I would like to bring a motion to the table to provide the $1,500 that our fiscal officer had provided with a receipt to an investigation company to do the investigation. I believe hiring a law firm is putting the cart before the horse. We need to get the investigation moving forward, and by doing that, I would recommend that we hire an investigation company that the fiscal officer had brought to the attention of the board. If we approve this as a board, I would ask that we turn it over to the fiscal officer because this is her department. We're a board, we're trustees. The fiscal officer is responsible for the banking for this township.
Is there a second?
So I would ask that we, as a board, make a motion for the $1,500 to go to.
I'll second for discussion, but so you're number one, you have Werewolf, who was biased in their last investigation that left out the next text line. So it seems salacious when I said share it with everybody. purposely left it out. But so you want to turn over the investigation to the individual that lied to our road crew and staff about the employees not being paid, which precipitated this whole thing where we found out that, because she blamed it on the bank.
Make up your mind.
And then, no, that's the truth. She blamed it on the bank, and I found out through talking to the bank that that wasn't true. Even the bank said that that doesn't happen. And my question still is, the fiscal officer is using apparently 5 different personal emails of Gmail of this for official township business. Are you trying to escape the Public Records Act? Why would ACH payment notices be going to a personal
Wait a minute, we're talking
email?
about, we have a motion.
That's what I'm saying.
We have a
That's what I'm
motion.
saying. You want an individual to be in charge of the investigation, which she participated
You're out of
in
order,
the lie.
Mr. Evans. This is an active investigation. You are really out of order on this. There is a motion on the floor. We have discussion, but this constant accusations
It's the
and
truth.
compromising an active investigation.
It is, the truth doesn't
and
compromise
accusing is
it.
out of order.
Call
You've
for a
got
vote.
30 seconds. It has been called for the vote, so
I have no more discussion.
roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
No.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion fails.
We already have a firm investigating it,
Right
if
there.
they're actually properly engaged,
It's fine.
which apparently they haven't been.
Engineer request road work estimate.
Cover up, cover up.
Yes, meeting.
Is there a motion?
Well, I move to approve the engineer's estimate as request as, actually it's engineer's assistance as presented.
Is there a second? Second? Discussion?
Was there a second?
I seconded it. Discussion?
Wait, is this the right one? Yep. So meeting with Mr. Copley, our road superintendent, he indicates, and I agree, that Summit Road needs to be milled and filled. It's just long past its life. We can't really do any preservation on there. However, this ties in with the prosecutor request because Reynoldsburg is currently planning and submitting for a grant to expand the same section of the road, which is ours. I don't believe that we should be maintaining it or paving it if they're just going to expand it. But before we get the prosecutor's opinion, I'd at least like to get this started, to get an estimate to repave our portion of that road. Then we can decide after we get the prosecutor's
Which
opinion.
portion are you talking about?
Summit Road from 40 north to the end of our jurisdiction, which was at the southern end of the lot to the south of the high school, just on the north end of Lakeland Hills. However, there's been some acquisition by Reynoldsburg through annexation within the annexation agreement. And I am not sure if they've taken a portion of the road up that way, but they definitely do not have the entire Summit Road. So it would be for whatever road is within our jurisdiction. Our road superintendent has indicated he's spoken to others that say this is not Reynoldsburg's road. They don't know how they're doing it, but it appears that Reynoldsburg is just trying to go ahead and do it.
Is there any verification, and we contacted the county engineers, or any verification exactly, and have we had any contact with the city of Reynoldsburg?
I spoke, Mr. Begley spoke here.
Right.
And I requested, how they're doing it. He said that there were former agreements. He said that he would forward them. I have not seen any. And that's where, again, the prosecutor requests, but this engineering assistance is part of that, where they'd be able to research, but, and Mr. Copley has spoken to Mr. Carlisle about his history and of any agreements, and Mr. Copley said that Carlisle said that there was not any agreements.
I will support this, but I am not going to vote for any mill and fill until we get clarification on the control of that road. So as far as getting the estimate, I don't have a problem. And as part of that, you're saying that we can possibly gather data that verifies exactly where that road stops. What I would recommend, Mr. Evans, is that you work with the township administrator as the point of contact so we can gather that information before we
Well, yeah, he's
expend
got to
any.
get up to speed on stuff, and that's not
Let
a
me
problem.
finish before we expend any funds. Ms. McKee, would you like to have some comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor Beckney was here several meetings ago, and he explained it to the resident as well as the board. And from my understanding, he was there at a homeowners meeting recently. If I'm not mistaken, I was told by one of the residents. So I'm feeling, the same way you're feeling, Mr. Burkholder, is, Mark, if you could, Trustee Evans could work with our new administrator and kind of get more information as well as contacting the mayor's office, Reynoldsburg, to make sure that Summit Road, from my understanding, the project that's happening down there is not going to be, once it's completed, it won't be something that we'll be responsible as a township.
Well, my thing is, it's our road, how are they even doing it with it being our road?
Well, that's why we need to have that discussion.
And we have to have the discussion, because I've heard
Correct.
from residents that live on Summit that do not want it expanded because they're taking a portion of their property.
Yeah.
So my concern also is if they do expand it for some reason, are we then liable for the maintenance of the expanded road? It's finding information, because again, we don't have working files here. We should be able to just simply search for it and do it, but
Mr. Evans.
that's the legacy of the past.
That's right. So let's
Right,
move
the
on
employees
into
over.
the future. So have you made any attempt to contact the mayor's office on follow-up of the?
Yes, numerous
records?
times, and I have received zero response. Went after the initial request to Mr. Begney, where he said he would provide that.
Have you called
And he hasn't,
since then?
and I've emailed several times. I've not sent any, singing telegrams or anything like that. There's just no response from his office, and I don't believe we should trust anything coming through. We need to have our legal representatives make sure our interests are protected.
I agree.
Roll call on the motion, please.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So are we voting to sign this piece of paper?
For the engineering assistance, correct.
Correct.
Okay.
2 trustees have to sign it.
I would ask that all 3 trustees
Yes,
sign
and
it.
that's all 3 trustees and the fiscal officer on here.
But it's either 2 trustees or a fiscal officer and a resolution.
So we'll just take,
That's the requirement. We've got to meet their, if 3 trustees and
we'll do the 3
the
trustees.
administrator want to sign it, as long as 2 trustees sign it,
Correct.
that's all that's required.
Yep.
Roll call,
We went
please.
through this before.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And Holly, could you print that out so we can sign that?
I have it.
Okay.
Lot ceiling,
Yes, as indicated, I had a discussion with the road superintendent regarding the upcoming roof, and then we also did a road assessment and including the condition and also the prior year's work. I did want to mention that briefly on the prior year's work, there are some areas that need to be restriped. Strauser is reaching out to that contractor, and I'll let you know when a resolution is on that. But as far as the road sealing, we need to preserve our pavement, and this includes the road department lot. So this is just something that's required. Mr. Copley had previously got an estimate from another company last year for some preservation, and it was over $10,000. I reached out to a local vendor. They are within Etna Township. Received this quote within an hour. I checked with other vendors and going rate, it is very reasonable, and they're also including the restriping at the hall. It is for a double coat with the broom finish on the edge and spray it on the interior. Builds it up a little bit more. Bubba will prep it with crack sealing, and then they'll blow it off in that.
What's your plan and the amount? What's the pleasure on this?
Yeah, I move to approve the proposal with AccuSeal pavement maintenance for the total of $8,150, and as shown stricken on the proposal, the service charge, which is an interest for late payment, is stricken because we can't have that part of the contract, and the contractor is agreeable to that.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And am I taking care of this to ensure it's done, and I can work with the administrator to bring him up to speed?
No, well, you can go through the administrator, but we're not going to have you prep him on what's going on, and so he'll know. So we're
Mr.
transferring
Burkholder,
things to the
you maintain control of TID, the park committee, that all this stuff. We need to get stuff done, and
You're out
Mr.
of order.
Spurgeon needs to get up to speed.
Work with
And I have
him.
no problem
Keep him aware.
keeping them, but we need to get this done.
Yes.
Who's to sign this proposal?
That's
Outside.
the administrator.
Yeah.
That motion passed. Item C, is there a motion?
So can I be clear? So the administrator is going to take care of scheduling and all that now?
No, Bubba will, right? He's the road superintendent, correct?
Correct.
Well,
Okay.
I think that should be part of.
Mr. Evans, let's move on.
Mr. Copley is very busy. And I think
Item
that's part of
C,
the
prosecutor's
administrator's
opinion, Summit Road jurisdiction. Is there a motion?
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move. Well, we have to do it by resolution, so what resolution are we on?
Do you have a resolution?
As I indicated earlier, that the administrative assistant indicated she had made a template.
You are out of order. We have gone through this. If you don't have a resolution, I suggest you get with
The administrative assistant created a template.
You're out of order, Mr.
No, I am not.
There's no motion on the floor. We will have to unfortunately move on to the Morpsey.
You've got to be kidding me.
Summer intern.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a
regarding-
motion to bring on a summer intern, and
Do you have the resume in front of you?
I don't
there?
have, I do. Well, actually, I have the resume in front of me.
Christina?
Yes, thank you, and I do have a copy of it, and I just, request.
Can you make a motion first, before we get to discussion, please?
Well, we'll make a motion to hire Christina R. Amundsen. Am I pronouncing that properly? Okay, and for our Morpsey College intern for the summer of 2025.
And I'll second that. And would you like to speak first, Ms. McKee, or
Oh, I just want to say,
would you like the
yeah.
administrator to?
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to the
Okay.
administrator, but I just want to, I get excited about this because I was an intern through my college days, and it's so important to bring them on board. We had our first intern for Morpsey when I became a trustee, and I think it's so important to get that experience and to work within your field. So I'm excited. I heard great things about her from the administrator, and also the excitement was him pulling in the other employees to be a part of the interview, because that intern will be working closely in this office with our other two employees. So I'll turn it over to our administrator. Thank you.
Through the chair, Vice President. Thank you, Mr. President. We've hit a home run. This program is through Morpsey. We all are familiar with the relationship with them. They offered a summer intern. It came quick. We have to get them through the door by the 13th, but we dropped everything and interviewed this nice young lady. She's articulate, she's personal, she's bright, she's well-spoken, and she has a passion to serve. She has a passion for quality work. She's pursuing a degree in development. She has a minor in architecture. I did pull the team in. I kind of led the interview, and we all gave her 3 thumbs up. She would do a really good job. We have work for her that is not only beneficial to this great township, but she would find that intrinsically satisfying as well. So I would urge that we adopt this.
Mr. Evans?
Yes, I'm for this intern. I think she's very qualified in that. My concern is the proper use of her and proper workstation. I know we upgraded the 4-foot folding table to a 6-foot folding table. We've got to do better. Also, the last intern was doing minutes for meetings and that. Why? That should not be done. It's not fair to the intern because it's a pact of, yes, we're paying them, but it's for zoning experience. It's for that. It's not for minutes. It's not for cleaning, vacuuming, or anything like that. So I think it's got to be on task. But also, the last intern was charged with a bunch of stuff, and then nothing was done with it. Like they were supposed to go through all the errors in the zoning map, all the errors and this, and it's just nothing. There's a pile. So I'm afraid that they're not going to be properly supervised or have a proper workstation. And Mr. Spurgeon, what's the plan for her workstation?
Well, I don't think you should.
No, I asked Mr. Spurgeon since she's going to be under him.
If I may, Mr. President?
You may.
So we are currently reviewing our infrastructure from IT. If there's a laptop that we can ascribe to her, that's what we'll do.
I'm talking about a desk so that they can have a workstation.
Okay, Mr. President?
Well, let me interject that we've revisited this numerous
Yes,
times,
yes,
Mr. Evans, and
yes.
because you
When are we going to fix it?
because you
Facebook.
couldn't. Well, you've made it a political issue, and because you can't, because it was voted down by the board 2-1 because we thought it was premature. So, and this just came today as far as this intern. So I have full confidence that Mr. Spurgeon will be able to handle whatever arrangements need. Now, let me finish. I've got another thing I want to say here. First of all, I greatly disagree with you. Our intern was fine. She worked here in the hall many times. Those minutes, first of all, we were shorthanded, but secondly, they were zoning and BZA minutes. So maybe it's kind of like the Karate Kid, wax on and wax off. The fact that she went through the minutes because she didn't attend those meetings and she saw the dialogue and the kinds of things, that was part of her training. Secondly, we assigned her, meeting our planning consultant, which you would not support extending this contract.
Neither did
He
Mr.
gave
Key.
her, well, that's true. He gave an assignment to go back to 2015 to look at all the text and zoning map amendments that had not been recorded on our zoning map or had not been properly forwarded to the recorder's office, which to your credit, you brought up some of those had not been filed with the Licking County recorder. She went back to 2015, created a list, and we began to work on a draft zoning map to bring the zoning map up to current specs. There were major map changes that were not on there. I personally was in the office working with our planning consultant, and we got about halfway through that. So it took her some time. She went through the book. She went clear back to 2015. She went through the zoning commission minutes. She went through the zoning commission member. It's not. She went through the zoning commission minutes, and she also went through the zoning resolution.
Okay, well,
so let that be.
Hearing of a list is the first, because I asked Mr. Walker, is there a list? And he said, no, there's a stack. So is there a list?
Yes.
Can I please have a copy of the list?
You certainly may.
I've requested that. Mr. Walker said there wasn't a list.
Well, I don't know what your conversation was, but
Mr. Walker, is there a list?
You're not going to continue to browse. There is a list.
I'm asking a simple question if there's a
Well,
list.
I've asked and answered. Now we're
No,
going to move
Mr.
on.
Walker-
You are not going to continue to argue with staff and demean staff in a public meeting. I will not
It's a
have it.
simple question.
Ms.
Well,
McKee?
yes, I just want to say this. I know he's, talking about our previous intern. He voted to hire her on an extension till December, so she must not have been that bad, okay?
I didn't say she was bad. She wasn't supervised.
Excuse me, as far as her work ethic. Now, let's talk about the workstation. That's the least. We can order, whoever we end up, Christina, bring her in. We can buy a desk. It's not a big deal, okay?
Why haven't we done it?
Excuse me, Mr. Evans, You went on Facebook and you posted the furniture and they are not properly this properly. You're just trying to find places you can say "got you" moment. Please stop.
No, I'm trying
Let's
to
work
correct it.
together. Let's figure this out. That's the least worry. We're just blessed to get somebody that's going to
It's
come in and.
16
I'm
That's
going to
all.
call the question,
That's all.
please. Roll call.
Mr. Evans?
No, because she's not going to be supported.
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was premature.
Yes, you're premature. Ms. McKee?
Yes, absolutely.
And
Motion passes.
Why
You're out of
is
order.
this on a
Motion,
calendar?
motion,
Why did
motion
this spring on
passed.
us?
Motion passed. Mr.
Again, we
Evans,
don't
you're out of
know
order. I'm going to recognize.
what's coming up,
I'm going to
and it's not
recognize.
funny.
Out of order. You got to.
Why didn't you have this on a
Why don't
calendar?
you control your
To
emotions?
control
You're out of order. Fiscal
and
officer,
plan.
you have the floor, please.
Thank you. Our Otara
Again.
risk management renewal is due.
Yep.
There was some problems with Otara getting a new system, so they sent it to us late. I have talked to them. We are still covered, even though the day has passed. We need to get this in ASAP, so I'm just letting you know that.
Okay.
It is not of our doing, but it's just something that happened. Should be resolutions to pass the POs, and you guys all should have the POs.
Is there a motion to pass resolution 2025-023 authorizing POs here on May 7th, 2025? Is there a motion?
Make a motion for discussion.
Is there a second?
I just want to make sure everything's,
This is just the PO.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
I'll second it.
Is, okay, AccuSeal's on it.
I put AccuSeal on it.
Yeah, that's what I just said, AccuSeal's on
I just ask that any Park National charges, credit cards, that we should have itemized statement, not just one big bill being paid. I like to see.
Well, it's just copies of the statements available.
Yeah, I want to see it.
And they could be easily put into diligence.
I know, but
review.
we're not talking
Even
about
Even the
diligent.
public.
We're not talking about due diligence.
Well, it's been a bad weekend.
Yeah,
so
she's had some family issues.
I've had some family issues.
So I'm just asking for the
Any
future to
further?
make sure.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So who motioned it? To pass the POs?
Rossi.
Who's second?
Here.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay.
And then don't forget about the road work. We skipped over the, I don't know if you're adding it to
That's
that.
the one.
Other work, not just engineering, but the road work, so.
What do you have a motion or what's the?
No, it's for discussion. Again, we reviewed the roads, provided the list, met with Strauser, and it is through the state competitive bid, so there are bids, and it's a way to get it at the good price, but also streamline it. The recommendation was for Cumberland Trail East, Cumberland Trail West, stopping just after Buttonbush, Cumberland Crossing, the north entry, and the northern roads as listed there. And depending on the proposal cost, adding in Russell Heights and New England Acres, which were done in 2016, but are experiencing quite a bit of cracking that. And the whole point of this is to for road preservation and make them last a lot longer.
Do we have any estimates?
No, because I wanted to get from the board if there's a general consensus of if you agree with this list, or if there's some other area that you think should be included. The one good thing with this treatment and that is being proposed is there wouldn't be a need for crack sealing, which was very intensive for a road crew last year, and they actually ran out of time in some sections, and it would allow them to hit like Half Farm, Baldwin Community, the other ones to address that. But I think these, based on the cost savings of versus a mill and fill and that, we should be able to do all of them. But at least I wanted to concentrate on the top three if there was a budget concern.
I have serious reservations, having spoken with the road superintendent relative to the durability, the way the product held up or didn't hold up. I know some residents have expressed some concerns as well. The striping is terrible. It is not a smooth surface as it said it was. So
When did you speak to him? After the road review or before?
I've spoken to him several times, road review. I was told that is it Dominic? Was he?
Yeah, Dominic.
Dominic said something, well, you should have dug some things out and paved it first was.
No. Well,
Well,
to clarify, some of the issues that Mr. Copley pointed out were on Refugee Road and that, where it has nothing to do, no matter what we did, it's that the ditch is so steep, there's a push out of the pavement. So no matter what you did to it, you're gonna have that push out. We're either gonna have to put culvert pipe in there and build it up, because if you look at those sections, there's push out, and where the ditch isn't so steep in that, it's fine. There were some concerns, some misunderstandings about, well, there's crack. Well, where you have a crack and crack seal, there's gonna be movement, so things crack, but it's sealed underneath, and the whole purpose of this is to preserve the rest of the road, so it is preserved by the township, the Tascala. Everybody does this. You even attended that seminar, so there was some misunderstanding that some people thought, well, it would be like a brand new road. It's not like a mill and fill. There are going to be cracks, but the cracks that happen are the transfer cracks that come up within the first year, and that's it. And if you look at other sections of the road of other jurisdictions, it's fine. So if you're saying you don't want to address this, well, then we're going to really have to, in this manner, we're going to be spending a lot more, and we're going to have to modify that engineer's estimate to start repaving entire areas. But like I said, some of these aren't that old, and to mill and fill, like the 2 years ago, mill and fill on Palmer Road was $500,000. We treated all those roads in that township for $630.
Well,
Ms. McKee,
again,
go ahead.
I
You
go
have the
back
floor.
to, I like to talk to previous trustees, and I remember Jeff Johnson, a previous trustee here, was very familiar with this product, and it's just not, it's not a good way to go. I talked to Bubba last year before, same thing. And just like you mentioned, Refugee Road, I remember driving Refugee Road after it was completed. It made your tires and your drive feel like you were driving on wet pavement. It just wasn't a smooth drive. But then once you crossed over 310 onto the other side and then you got down there to Pataskala where they did some work, totally different feel on your car and your tires. And just to me, it was just a cheap way to do it, and I don't think that's the way we should go. That's my
being
opinion.
responsible with our tax dollars and extending the road's life. And the other trustees in the past have used Cape Seal, and what the Cape Seal is not the chip and seal, but then adding that extra layer, that microsurface on top. It was explained that it's not going to be a brand new road. If there's a little undulation in the road, it's going to stay because it's a thin product. But if we're going to sit here and spend $500,000 to $1 million just mill and fill and all that, we aren't going to have funds for a park that was estimated at 17 to 85 million. And this is a good, again, this is what entities are moving to, of maintaining and preserving instead of just ripping out and replacing, because it is expensive.
I agree, Mr. Evans, that we have to be conservative with our spending, just like that's why I didn't support that part of buying a tree cutter. That's just, to me, it was just $20,000 for that. We don't really need it.
It's $1,000 per year.
We could have hired a company to do the work temporary until we bought one.
So am I wasting my time getting an estimate on this?
Thank you. So you've had your two speeches per trustee.
You don't think
so? I would ask that we give our administrator an opportunity to talk to our road superintendent directly I would like to also consider possible other contractors as well. But let's give unless you have something you want to say now, Mr. Spurgeon.
Well, I invited the administrator on the road review. I didn't get a response. And it's important that we move forward because we should have been dealing with this months ago.
Yes, we should.
And putting things up a bit. Again, last year we waited, it was delayed to the last minute and we had to deal with freezing weather. We had to deal with, we're doing the same thing again.
Well, first of all, you've had your two speeches. I'll have my final one now. I respectfully don't include me in that we, because you brought it up when you did bring it up, and yes, it did get into cold weather. That's all I've got to say. I'm going to, if there's no action, no motion.
Well, do you want me to seek an estimate for this or not? I don't want to waste my time nor the contractor's time.
I'm not going to support it this time. I want to give our administrator a little time to, I know he's delved into it a little bit, but a little bit more time
Mrs. Spurgeon,
to get with the road
are you familiar with road work and all that?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Through the chair, Mr. Evans, I am of the mind, as your new administrator, I'm hearing a lot of talk about road maintenance, preservation, and the like. I'm of the mind that our superintendent is the subject matter expert on those endeavors. I did an hour and a half ride along with him today. And I said, Bob, if I share your opinion, I want to make sure I'm not misrepresenting you. And he would share the same opinion as you, Mr. Chair, and our Madam Vice President, that this might not be the best way to go. To spend a little extra money and pave them would be better. Again, I'm going to defer to Bubba. I'm operating from the premise that he knows a lot more about those endeavors than I do. But I did ask his opinion in case I was asked this evening.
Well, the only thing I'll say on that is we use Reclamite. And even in Heath, there's an area that they've applied Reclamite and not in a certain area to show the effect. The road superintendent was against that also. There's reasons why there's oversight and supervision that, yes, Mr. Copley is very knowledgeable on stuff, but he also likes to do things old school. Doesn't want to consider brine, doesn't want to consider, we are at a time where costs are skyrocketing. And it's preserving it that's important. And I'm concerned that there's we're here for a reason. And if we're just going to defer to employee, what are we here for?
Move to refer this to our township administrator so that he can have further conversations with the road superintendent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Why do you
Any
have to
further
vote on
discussion?
this? You're just going to...
Roll call, please.
Mr. Evans?
No.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
We do that to get the votes on the record, so. Public comments, 2 minutes.
Wait,
Oh,
time out.
Go ahead.
You forgot the payment.
Yep.
The payment?
Because we went back up to his.
Yeah.
You skipped,
We didn't finish fiscal report.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
I thought we were finished with that.
No, we didn't do the checks.
Is
You
there a
have to
motion?
approve the checks.
I move to approve the payments as listed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
This isn't
Discussion, questions?
Mr. Evans? Any questions?
No, I just said it. This
Roll
isn't
call,
that
please.
difficult.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Burkholder?
Yes.
Ms. McKee?
Yes.
Motion passes. Public comments? 2 minutes? Go ahead.
I have a couple of things. First of all, and I don't need any feedback on this. I'm just stating these things.
Right.
Whatever the ceiling is, that stuff is really noisy.
It's what?
It's really super noisy.
Okay.
That stuff. I mean, we live on Tollgate Road, and we can hear it all the way out on Palmer Road. So that's what comment I have about that stuff. Maybe it saves a lot of money. That's fine, but okay, so that's one comment. The other thing is, I am wondering if we have this new park going in, and there's a lot of stuff being said about it, but what are we doing about High Point Park? Were we getting a lot of stuff done up here, or we are not? I would like an answer on that.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to answer that. I've been working with our new administrator on that. We've been following up. There's planning currently underway with MKSK, and of course that's in conjunction with the improvements that it's going to take on Pike Street. The next thing, we're looking at the funding stack right now. We received $125,000 commitment from the new community authority. We have $150,000 from the state capital budget, and we're working on some additional paperwork on that. And so we have that funding in place. And then in addition to that, we may go back to the NCA, it depends. And then the township is going to be contributing to that as well. And on the next agenda, we have to pass a resolution. We did it previously by motion, but pass a resolution to apply to the Licking Park District for additional $79,000. And that'll include a lot of things like new fencing, taking those paths out, picnic tables, upgrading the gazebo. I think Ms. McKee talked about possibly a red standing seam on that. Upgrading the electrical grid so that when we have food trucks and things like that, that we'll have plenty of power. So that is an active project.
Do I still have a little bit of time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing is, I don't understand the thing on Summit Road about where Reynoldsburg just comes in and they just want to just annex anything they want to. Is that the way? Are they allowed to do that?
We have an annexation agreement that limits their annexation. They've got a couple more parcels where that plane landed, that big farm
right.
off Taylor, that's
Right.
one. And I think there's another one. They've tried to encourage annexation outside of the agreement, but push back. But if you're talking about the road, we definitely have to watch that because we can't just let them do what they want.
Yeah, because I don't think residents really would like to have their property taken away from them for
That's why I'm
some outside person. That's it.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Appreciate it. Anyone else?
Ryan Davis, 8807 Watkins Road. I'd like to help Mr. Evans with the question he asked there. I think the reason the board has to pass resolutions now is because there's so much back and forth and hearsay on what is being delegated and what is being assigned to people to do. I think having it on the record helps alleviate some of that argument. Takeaways from the evening. Mr. Evans, 8 days in the administrator being here, and you voted against having an intern, but you know this staff desperately needs more help. You voted against her simply because you were unwilling and unwavering in the opinion that you wouldn't get the workstation that he or she would need to work. And the man's been here for a little over a week. It's beyond crazy. It's May the 7th, and you're just now discussing putting together a proposal for road work. Why is this not something that you could go in sales? What you do is you present to the board a proposal. So if you had all the information here today and explain to your proposal, maybe the board could make a decision, maybe they would have questions, maybe it could be voted on the next time. But to do something, engage whether you even have the vote of the board, when you're doing what's best for the township, it wouldn't matter what the other board members think. If you're putting forth the best effort for the township and made it a case where they would agree with you, you would have the votes. You wouldn't have to screen votes before you actually did the work for the township. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I do.
Mr. Hanson, please.
Yeah.
John Hanson, Ridgewood Drive, Etna, Ohio. You've got to be the top salesman for Strausser Paving there, Mr. Evans. The only time I've seen him animated and happy is when he's selling Reclamite or whatever this is.
That's not Strausser.
Well, whoever it is, you get pretty excited about it. Is Strausser Paving paying you?
Move
And as
on.
far as public records, we're still waiting on public records that Evans is holding. And, the last time I talked to the prosecutor, there's been, none of the videos have been turned over. He said that you got rid of the videos that I requested. We've
Do
established.
you want a discussion or do you want public comment?
Well, let me just say this, and since he wants it in the comment form, that the prosecutor says that what he does here is public records.
It's not.
But he refuses to.
Yes, it is.
Anything you do as a trustee is. I know you're very confused about whether you're a resident or a trustee. It's kind of sad, actually. But you are a trustee all the time, Mr. Evans. And on public records here, you evidently are not producing at least 2 videos I can think of. I think there's 3. And then the other request for, the information with Julie Varian, haven't seen any of that. You're refusing to answer the questions about, you threw Varian under the bus as doing this improper bank access, but are we to believe that she just spontaneously checked that and called you? This was instigated by you. The improperness of it was
road superintendent contacted her.
20 seconds.
At any rate, we're waiting for public records, and I agreed to take this into mitigation, and I'm not sure if that was a good idea, but I did agree to move it into mitigation, and I believe our new administrator is going to be talking to him also, but what we're having trouble with is getting the stuff that Mr. Evans wants.
I have a question, Mr. Hanson. Have you had an opportunity yet to talk to Mr. Spurgeon, or is that still?
I did. He called me right away, and he's been very helpful and has kept me up on what he can get. But what we can't get is the stuff that Evans is personally holding, text messages and that kind of stuff.
Okay, and I do appreciate your patience. This is something, obviously, Mr. Spurgeon is inundated with things, but this is a major issue as far as trying to come into compliance for those requested records, and unfortunately, the township in many regards is getting papered up. But I do appreciate your patience and the question as well.
Well, we waited about a year on a lot of these, and conversely, when Evans attacked the township and Mr. Singleton, he waited not even 2 days before he came in and demanded these records.
Anyone else who would like to speak at this time?
You're good, Matt. We can go.
I'm Matthew Rosberg, 46 Eden Park. I was just asked, in regards to the road ceiling, we've invested a lot of money, 2 years in getting that. I would love to see, before decisions made, a written statement from other communities, i.e. Liberty Township, Pickerington, Pataskla, on what their success is outside of just ours before decisions made to throw that out. But also I think that some of our roads are so far gone that even micro ceilings beyond that, I think that's where we're at with some of these roads. So it's 2 separate issues that the board needs to look at and see what other vendors offer that, because it seems that we might not, it might be a good product, we're just not getting the right company to install it for us. With that, I still find it really frustrating that, that we've got verbal bids, but there's nothing written, and we're still approving things without multiple options, which the board has said to itself they want to do going forward, and it's still not happening. We really, you guys forgot an entire item that you added to the agenda. If we're going to run an organized meeting, more attention to detail has to be done, so these things aren't missed constantly. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I've got to do this because I'll be limited in the trustee comments, but to address Mr. Davis's comment about why don't you work collaboratively and that, bring things forward. It's called working collaboratively because if they want to see other areas
Please address
addressed,
the board, Mr. Evans.
that's what this is all about, of, hey, what's your idea in that? To just bring in and say, this is what it's going to be. Because obviously, if I would have went through, got this, it would have been a no from this board because it's been a no trying to get this addressed back in March. That Mr. Burkholder and Ms. McKee refused to address the road preservation and improvement. So we're here now because of that, and we got to keep moving. But again, we're delayed. We're delayed on the prosecutor's opinion. That's critically needed for Summit Road. So we approved the engineer's request, but we're not dealing with what is legally possible for Summit. That's really bright. We're just delaying again. And again, the administrative assistant held up her template of, hey, this is I created and this was. And
Don't attack staff, Mr. Evans.
This is my time. I'm
You're out of
reclaiming
order.
it. No, I'm not. And it's just ridiculous the things that we're doing here in public records. When are you going to fulfill mine? As a trustee, I have to put in public records requests, and they're still ignored. Ms. Coutinho's not providing her records.
You got 30
Ms.
seconds.
Ms. Coutinho isn't even providing her video that some say is public record. Why isn't she doing that? Why isn't she providing the $15,000 of improper payments to a former fiscal officer?
20 seconds.
Is this a cover-up of the fraud? I mean, this is ridiculous of what's going on here, and we need to start doing things properly. And again, we should have oversight of this. I totally disagree with Mr. Spurgeon that we only rely on employees. Right now, we've got zoning staff that aren't following our zoning, that are issuing permits that aren't permitted.
Your time has
that
expired,
impacts
Mr. Evans.
Residents. So that's why we need oversight.
Your time has expired. Sir, name and address, please. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Steve Wood, 6968 Palmer Road, Edmond. I find it funny that when he sits in that chair, you're trying to stop him, and when we come up here, he can say whatever he wants to say, including addressing other people in the audience and attacking people. But you ask us, as other citizens, to stand here and stay positive. Why is that?
Well,
you can say what you want, sir.
No, that's not true.
You have freedom of speech.
That is not true.
Well, except threatening.
And
Don't
it
threaten
all
people's
comes
lives.
from you.
Don't threaten people's lives.
But my question is, my number one question, where's the deputy?
I'd like to know that too.
Where is he?
He was contacted to be here far in advance.
Excuse me. I would like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
Down here when I pulled in.
Hold it.
I would
Go
like
ahead.
to make a motion that we would hire a special duty sheriff to be in this
It's not
town
on the
hall.
agenda.
Excuse me, it don't have to be. I'm under trustee comments. And I can make a motion.
Well, hold it. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak publicly?
Wait,
Sorry.
wait,
I'll
I'm
give
sorry.
you latitude. Go ahead.
When I came up here, I forgot to say who I was and where I lived.
We know you.
We got you.
We know you.
Are you sure?
I promise I
Okay, thank you.
But I appreciate that.
You're regular.
Sue Jones of 123 Main Street.
Craig Zacher, 79 Trail East. I think it's peril that we get special duty.
Yes.
You cannot rely on the officers that are doing their job out there and hoping they have the time to come in here and sit here. You have to pay them to come in here every meeting.
Yes.
Because Mr. Evans is afraid.
Yes.
He's admitted it. He's afraid. So we need to get security in here for him
Yes.
and the rest of the residents.
That's exactly true.
Because
I
there's
agree
times
with
where he's like just raging.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we definitely need to pay
Yes.
special duty.
I agree. And just so.
Are you okay, sir?
Well, hold it. First of all, let me clarify something that I've already talked to Lieutenant Carson about this issue. And I agree with the comments that are here and my colleague, because they were coming in as availability. They would come on their shift, but if they had to be called away. And I specifically told the lieutenant that is unacceptable. We have to have them here to be able to go into executive session for the reasons you stated and to stay for the entire meeting. This was confirmed weeks ago that this meeting had moved to the 7th. And so I don't have an answer, but I will be calling the lieutenant and say, why didn't this happen? So I appreciate those remarks. And
I would like to say, yes, I feel threatened here. My life was threatened here. and the individual that they were speaking to admitted that Mr. Wood threatened my life in this meeting.
You are out of order.
Sir,
do you have comments?
yes, I do. I just
Trustee?
want to be clear that several years back, we passed a resolution that we would have a special duty officer here that's assigned to this township. Now, Mr. Carson is not responsible for that department. There's a separate department to that, Mr. Burkholder. You may not have known that. I had to find out. later. There's a separate department.
But Lieutenant Carson specifically talked about that, and I told him,
Yes.
I communicated through him that this wasn't about cost, that we had to have, a deputy could not come and then leave and had to be here, so.
Yes, so
Well,
we
go
will
ahead.
work to
Go
get
ahead.
that taken care of, because that is a separate department.
All I'll say is, I don't require a deputy except in that room where I've been threatened and
Go ahead.
assaulted.
You don't have the
So
floor.
put a
You
camera
don't
in
have,
that
you don't
room.
have the floor, Mr. Evans, Ms.
I'm done.
McKee. You have anything
Okay,
else?
now I've got the floor. Put a camera in the room like there's a camera there and a camera there, and I'm fine. But you don't want, because last December, you and Ms. McKee met back there about the budget, violating the open meetings
We
act.
did
That's
not.
why you don't want a camera back
We
there.
did not, Mr.
no,
Evans.
I've got the video
That
from
is
those
not-
cameras.
Your false
That's not-
accusations.
Now, what I have heard, why there's not a special deputy is because they don't want to be, that's one of your beck and calls, where Ms. McKee used to just give a nod to the deputy to kind of
You're out of order, Mr.
challenge
Evans.
somebody and throw them out.
You're out of order.
That's why we can't get a special deputy.
That's not true. You're
It
out
is.
of order.
Moving.
No, you're out of order, I'm sorry. Fiscal officer, I still have a few points. Okay, they've spoken now. First of all, the comment here tonight, I agree with the constructive criticism as far as there should not be this demeaning behavior to residents, and I do apologize as far as the vendor that was here. I was a little perturbed that they walked in and said, hey, we're here tonight to talk, and it was not on the agenda, but we wanted to give them the courtesy. And I guess my little response to him was, that's a very heated topic regarding that particular vendor. And, but I do stand by my comments, because I was here when that whole contract was going on, and I heard, quite frankly, the disrespectful comments that were made to Mr. Evans at that time. And so that is a hot topic, but I agree, they did not deserve that. The other question is, as I've said, and will say again, for 15 months, I've tried to bring some civility, some calm, and people ask me all the time, how do you take it? They can't believe it, the personal attacks that are relentless. Day and night, it affects our daily life. It affects a lot of people's daily lives. I've observed a lot of it, attacks on a very dedicated, sincere zoning chair. But I have limited jurisdiction. I've talked to the sheriff. Unless Mr. Evans commits a criminal act, all I can do is try to gavel him down, and I will continue to try to do it. And I have a lot of citizens say you can't keep letting any trustee just go on for 10 minutes, which is why we've implemented this rule. Be succinct, what you've got to say, because residents don't want to sit here all night either. And they want it to be a cordial, civil, you got a disagreement, but the name calling and all that truly is in violation of Robert's Rules of Order. And I better be quiet now because I don't want to exceed my 2 minutes. So.
All right, and I'll proceed with my 2 minutes of, as I've indicated, I'm holding resident forums to speak to the community about the concerns that have been ignored. Also, their suggestions every fourth Saturday of the month from 9 to 11 a.m. here. Although Ms. McKee attempted to stop it and actually sent out a thing saying that she's canceling it, she has no authority to do so, so no matter what you hear, it's happening. I'll be here, and what's interesting is Ms. McKee actually attended the forum that she said was canceled. She violated the Open Meetings Act doing so, and I've got proof that she discussed township. I've got proof she violated and spoke about township business. The next one's May 24th, again from 9 to 11. We did have a successful, although rainy, Liberty Christian Academy touch-a-truck. Road Department brought her mower max and the plow. I had quite a few looks about the plow going down the road at this time of the year. And one comment I would like to make that I believe it was the zoning chair that said that there's a lot of agenda items and you had to deal with them here and there. You could deal with quite a bit if you're actually organized, if you provide the documents ahead of time and resolutions and all that stuff. When I was president, if you look back at the agendas I proposed, they were multi-page and you could get through them. It's just the other two trustees refused to even read the packet material. And even back then, I provided all the packet material to everybody and that, and I disagree with Mr. Burkholder saying of how he puts up with it and that. From the moment you took office, you betrayed your promises and you refused to deal with anything. We're 16 months in. No further on the comprehensive plan. 16 months in. No further on anything. We have park committee members asking, what's the purpose? Because it was going months and months with nothing. We've got BZA actual winning court cases that the BZA wasn't even informed they won. This is a mess, and Mr. Burkholder says we lost employees and I drove employees away. That is completely false. They didn't leave until Mr. Burkholder came in where they thought there was going to be accountability. They could have stayed. There's no accountability whatsoever here. But the reason we're in that mess is because there was no oversight, no supervision of past employees, and we're doing it again. And I owe a duty to this township to make sure things are addressed. And when simple questions can't and won't be answered by staff, that is an issue, a huge issue. And it's time that stops. Because again, it's simple that no accessory structure fence goes in front of the house,
You're out of
but
order,
that
Mr.
is not understood, and we're this far in and nothing's being done.
I just got one more question. How are we doing on the maintenance of Town Hall, Mr. Evans? Have you done anything? Have you done anything?
Of maintenance? Yeah, I unclogged the things. I'm trying to get bids for the huge expense and involvement of the sewer thing, and I'm actually working a lot on the roof repair and that you ignored for over a year that again almost hit an employee.
I'm talking about this building.
Are we talking about the roof on the garage?
I'm talking.
Yeah, we're striping the stuff out there.
What stuff?
Right?
What stuff?
The parking, paving.
Yeah,
right?
what about, you know how that striping got done on the steps? I requested it.
Yeah.
It took 30 seconds. How about the other stuff? How about the
so
cupola?
you already spoke, so you're violating your own thing.
No.
But Mr. Burkholder,
We get two.
you're trying to
We get two.
cover up your incompetency.
You're
Again,
covered up, you're not doing your job.
no, you guys
So,
won't
I have
let me
something
do
to
my
say.
job.
You don't have anything else, Mr. Foster, did you?
No,
I
I'd
have
like to
something.
move on, please. You have to do a roll
You
call?
can't make a motion, so move to.
Can I?
I move
No,
to
I didn't
adjourn.
give my time.
Pardon?
Give me my time.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. As a trustee, please.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I just want to be clear that I did show up at last meetings. I did not have a conversation with Mr. Evans. He doesn't understand the Opens Meetings Act. If you understand it, then you would not be sitting there telling the residents the lie that I violated. Commissioners are under the same Opens Meeting Act law as well. They're always in the same building at the same time. We can be in the same building. We just can't have a discussion on the township business. I could talk to him about rain if I want to. That's how it's set up. But he keeps misleading the residents. Second thing I want to address, we have a listserv that we use to send out agendas to the residents so you guys can see our agenda. He used that from the township's email address book from our administrator to advise people of his meeting that he was putting together. You cannot do that. This is his meeting that he's doing. Now, he can get the listserv addresses, email addresses, and use them and send them out, but he had the administrator assistant send them out. That looks like now it's coming from the township, so it's an official meeting. That's why I sent an email letting the residents know it's not an official meeting, and I did the right thing.
No, you didn't.
Very good.
That's the
Thank
same
you.
thing about that Pike meeting, and even Burkholder at that time said
Let's go.
that
Mr.
it
Burke.
should be, yeah, we don't want to talk about the truth.
Motion
do
to
we?
adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Burkholder,
Yes.
Ms. McKee,
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes,
Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
circus continues.
8:29.
Thank you. Hey, he loves circus.